Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SuperCoach Edge, and we are here, of course, to review all things NFL SuperCoach, this time coming out of Week 12. And without further ado, let's have a look at how we fared. In terms of score, ended up scoring a 475, and season ranking-wise, was a little bit below par, unfortunately, and ended up sliding 55 spots to now sit ranked 2,412th overall. In terms of, I guess, benchmarks, what we're looking for at this stage of the season, we were hoping to have cracked the 1,500 mark at least in ranks. So the fact that we had a bad week last week, which we might just have a quick look at because we didn't get a chance to make an upload for last week. Let me just have a quick squeeze for history and I can show you what transpired. So it was a week of probably one of the worst weeks. I think we ended up scoring a 461 and we slid in rank from 1,639th overall to 2,357th overall. So not a very good week considering that we were making ground for the previous 5 weeks. I can't recall what it came down to. I think we didn't own Jamar Gibbs, and there are other couple of players as well that popped off that we don't own. But in terms of the trade, just quickly, what we did is we brought in, took out Jackson Dart and brought in Lamar Jackson, and Borregales went out for the non-playing player, the loophole in the kicker position on the bench. So yeah, I brought in Jackson because I think he's kind of a missing piece of the puzzle that I kind of need in my team. But in hindsight, probably could have waited. I think the break-even from Jackson was high enough. But yeah, I just didn't really want to miss out. And I think end of the day, whether or not I traded him 2 weeks ago or last week, it would have been, 1 for 1. I would have done it. So that's kind of where things sit. But in terms of how he performed line by line on the week just gone, so we had Josh Allen as our VC, scored a 20. Of course, wasn't taking that, so ended up opting for CMC with the captaincy for the first time all season, I think. Scored a 46, and I think was our third highest scorer. Just a quick look. Third highest scorer in our team, so not the worst. St. Brown scored better with a 50, and Njigba with a 65, who is just having an incredible season. But Josh Allen, 20 on the bench, JJ McCarthy, a 4. Now, he has lost cash to the tune of 320K with a break-even now of 37 elevated. So there's question marks over whether JJ McCarthy even continues as Minnesota's quarterback, such is his poor form. So we might be looking to him in terms of trading out to make a bit of money. But looking towards the running backs, and JT Taylor scored a 14, and a little bit of a roller coaster now. Jonathan Taylor paid top dollar, and it's disappointing because he's having a shit one, then he's having a cracker. Shit one, hopefully comes back with another cracker. We'll wait and see. But the past 4 weeks, he scored a 72, 13, 95, and then a 14. So hopefully, I guess the big scores that he's been having, the bounce backs with, he's been increasing. So hopefully he cracks the ton. We'll have to wait and see, but we can dream. CMC, as I said, scored a 46. He's very, very good. Bijan Robinson scored a 27. Disappointing for Javonte Williams. I think he's kind of proving himself to be a little bit of a weak point in our team. Past 3 weeks, he's scored 13, 19, and 21. Last week we didn't make a trade. If we had the money up our sleeve, we definitely would have, and we would have pulled the trigger to bring in Gibbs, which we'll speak about in the trade segment at the back end of this episode. But geez, he's worth a pretty penny now. But anyway, Travion Henderson scored a 19 on the bench, went up in dollary dues to the tune of 3.3 million. Starting to make a little bit of coin now with a break even of 5. Genty scored a 41, and this is frustrating because he's hitting his straps, which is good to see, but he's on our bench. He's obviously not giving us points on field. So he's turned things around and he's making some nice money. Moving on to the wide receivers. Now, Njigba, 65, just an incredible season by him and could continue this rich vein of form. Rashid Rice scored a 40 and proving himself to be, aside from the poor score in week 11 when he scored a 13, he's proving to be actually a really good buy. 39, 41, 33, and a 40, averaging a 33.2. So, yeah, he's looking to be a top-line wide receiver. So glad that we traded him into our team. Nakua, I guess in-out recruit. Yeah, it was in-out, should say. So he's back into our team for the second time after we traded him out when he was injured. Scored a 26, which is passable. A little bit below his average of 33.6, but we'll take it. St. Brown scored a 50, well above his season average, so looking very, very good. CeeDee Lamb has been disappointing, it must be said. Since we brought him into our team after he came back from injury, has kind of tapered. 39, 21, 24, 30, and now 19. I know it was, albeit a tough matchup, all things considered, against Philly, but I thought it was going to be a really high-scoring affair, and it was just going to be gunslingers from both sides, from Hurts and from the big boy in Dak Prescott. So it just didn't eventuate, and yeah, just disappointing there from CD. McMillan filled in admirably with a 21 for Jamar Chase, who was suspended for spitting on an opponent last week. I laughed because it's just utterly ridiculous, and he made an excuse saying that if he was to actually spit on someone, he would have done it properly in their face or something, which was dumb because it was obvious that he spat. They have got like a million cameras in the NFL, which is what the AFL should be doing. Take a leaf out of their book. But yeah, just stupid. But anyway, McMillan scored a 21, did well enough as cover for Jamar Chase, who returns this week, thankfully. Odunze scored a 13. Moving on to the tight ends, and McBride at 24, and he's been just really ever reliable. Warren scored a 14, been very much up and down, and probably proving himself now to be not so much a keeper. People have been jumping off over the past 4 weeks. His ownership has been 58.1%, down to 57.5%, then to 53.5%, and now at 50.1% going in to week 13. So a lot of people are sort of bidding him farewell because he is dropping in coin as well. But I think Kittle is definitely a player that I would be targeting back in some really nice form, albeit not the best score, I don't think, from the week just gone, but someone that you want in your team. Gadsden the second didn't play because I'm pretty sure the Chargers had the bye. And for the kickers, we had Tyler Loop with a 22, and Coe, as we mentioned, is our non-playing player Loop, if need be, for our vice captain, if we wanted to activate that trigger. For defense or special teams, the Pats, going from strength to strength, scored a 20, which we definitely would take. San Fran, turning things around ever so slowly with an 18 score. And then in the flex, as we mentioned, Lamar came in via Dart, who went out through injury, concussion, and Jackson scored a 14 for our troubles in, I guess, investing our faith over the past 2 weeks that we've had him for scores of 13 and 14. His two lowest scores for the season. So turn that shit around, Lamar. Come on, mate. But that is our team as it stands. In terms of the trades and what we may do or may consider doing, we've only got 4 trades left. We've got to keep that in mind. So we've got, 6 weeks to go, including this coming week of the season. With 4 trades in hand, we could probably hold out for maybe another week or two. I'm very, very conscious of the fact that, teams will be resting players, especially those that have qualified for playoffs. And will be playing second, third stringers. So if you have a big dog, there may be a chance that they actually get rested, and that is your chance to make up ground on the rest of the competition who may have used all their trades or may not have suitable cover on the bench for those weeks that they may be rested. So in terms of, I guess, what I would be considering, as I mentioned, JJ McCarthy, I probably would want to punt before he loses any more money, and that would probably be to Sanders, the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and has scored 4 and a 22. I think that was in the full game, and -6 break even. So can't go too wrong there. Now, Jamar Gibbs would love to have on our team, but he's $26 million is around about the price point of when we traded Taylor into our team, and it was well worth it. I mean, all things considered, but Jamar Gibbs, his ownership as well is pretty good enough, I think, 23.9%, and he went up 4.5 million on the weekend just gone. It's absolutely crazy. But in terms of any other moves we would want to make, aside from cashing out on JJ McCarthy, that's not going to give us enough money to go Jamal Williams, who is, I think, Javonte Williams, who is our weak link. That would only give us, if we go JJ McCarthy down to Sanders, the quarterback at the Browns, that would give us roughly, 7 million, if that? Yeah, about 7 million. 7 combined with the 2.2 that I have in the bank, that's touch under 10 million, 9 million, whatever it is. If we put that on the head of Williams, Javonte Williams, that's only going to get us to around about 20, 21 million, which is way off Jamar Gibbs, who's 26 million. So we'd virtually have to use 3 trades in order to get Gibbs into our team. We've only got 4 trades left. We'd need to make 2 downgrades, and then the third trade would be Williams to Gibbs. So I don't think that's worth it in the context of, potentially having donuts down the track when guys, as I said, get rested. And that's probably, compared to AFL, probably more of a foregone conclusion that guys will be rested for teams that are making playoffs. And likewise as well, those teams that miss out on playoffs, they may be just putting players on ice that may be carrying niggles. Yeah, just something to consider. But I think we probably should pull the trigger on JJ McCarthy to Sanders, considering he is on the bubble and we want to make as much money as we can. And then we just sit back. I mean, that'll bring us down to 3 trades with, as I said, 6 weeks to go. So half a trade per week, virtually averaged out, which isn't the worst. Could be better, but it's not the worst. So outside of that, the only other move that I could make is going Tyler Warren to our man in Kittle. Now, Kittle's worth 15,810,000. So he would need to make that trade for McCarthy down to Sanders and then use that money to bring Kittle into your team. So let me just have a quick look. He's scored pretty well. Since returning from injury, 24, 10, 37, 43, and 21. So I don't mind him. I really don't mind him. But that's probably a move I would make. Otherwise, if we were to go for that move, it means that we virtually use a bulk of our salary cap. So we wouldn't be able to get Gibbs into our team. Very easy. We'd need to make another trade. So we'd virtually be out of trades by doing this, I think. Or back in the situation where we've only got 1 trade left. So something to consider. But in terms of, just before we wrap up, VC and Cs, playing first up is Gibbs, so we'd love to have him, but as I said, we can't afford him unless we traded another big dog, which we're not going to do. And then there's 3 games on Friday. Interesting. There's Dallas against the Chiefs, so we could potentially go for a VC on CeeDee Lamb or a Rashid Rice. And then Baltimore up against Cincinnati. So I think it's probably a smart move to go VC on Lamar. And if he fails, we could go for Josh Allen, who plays Pittsburgh or CMC, playing Cleveland, of course. Otherwise, JT, I think, is our other player. And JT plays against Houston. So I don't mind JT, it must be said. And then Njigba plays Minnesota. So maybe Njigba, maybe. But ladies and gents, my eyes are shutting ever so slowly because I'm that tired. So, geez, parenting does take it out of you, must be said. But thank you, as always, for tuning in, ladies and gents. Really do appreciate your company, as always. And again, apologies for not having regular updates to my team here for NFL SuperCoach. But just trying to find time to do these when I can is hard enough in itself. But outside of that, of course, we do have to look ahead to BBL SuperCoach and start gearing up for that, which we will, of course, be churning out videos for, and a bit more regularly, I think, in terms of that, as opposed to NFL SuperCoach. But that is it, ladies and gents. And I hope you had an absolutely cracking week 12 in NFL SuperCoach. And if not, hey, there's always next week, which is the mantra I am taking. But thanks again for tuning in. Really do appreciate your company. And with that, we'll catch you in the next one.